I want you to look at this picture thoroughly. How ironic it is, huh? Even at some point discomforting. The reality we confront daily. People always nag, always find a way to criticize, judge or disagree, no matter how good or bad your performance is. They will give advice even if you didn't ask. Meanwhile, their own life raises a lot of questions. I don't want to create false impression, telling that people's opinion doesn't matter. Furthermore, it's opposite. Crowd, society can represent actual reality and determine your overall position in the hierarchy, determine quality of your performance. They can be a great tool to dispel delusion if to utilize it properly. There's even terminology that describe phenomena, called the wisdom of crowds. Phenomena demonstrate that average guesses from a large diverse group are surprisingly accurate at determining reality. In case people are your audience, you can fake results. Audacity, confidence, wealth, success, intelligence. I know what you think. There are a lot of phony people, actors and imposters. That's true. However, look at it from this perspective. I believe if you have well-developed critical thinking, the ability to not trust blindly, in case you communicate directly with some of them for long enough, you eventually will expose performance, because in reality, they're obvious in their intentions. They're histrionic. There are a lot of explicit evidences that screams and represent reality. If you pretending to be rich, you eventually will lose all your money by renting a car and imitating lifestyle. If you think you're smart, we will see what you're gonna do when you have to implement your knowledge. If you think you're an exceptional singer, why does nobody still know about you? Yeah, I agree. There are a lot of scammers, and some of their gimmicks can work out. But what about long-lasting effect? If they talk long enough, if play long enough, music will go silent, and eventually they will play themselves. So if to summarize and take a try to find the right answer, needs to dissect and put things under perspective, disassemble question on details. In certain situations, take into consideration everybody's opinion can impair personal growth, especially if we scale down and start listening to opinions individually. Let's look closely at this picture again. It really has profound meaning. Understand that this will help you to break free from slavery of people's opinion. Of course, solely by realizing it will not eradicate the mindset completely, and definitely will not change your nature or help to get rid of your complexes. But that will be a first step toward obtaining necessary understanding, first step toward raising self-esteem by means of realizing there always will be someone to judge you, no matter how perfect or flawless you think you are. This is our natural tendency toward conformity for the sake of socializing and integration. We strive to assimilate. This biological instinct, our survival depends on it. Because in case you're aggressive or defiant, eventually you will be exiled. At the same time, modern opportunities allow us to get alone in isolation. So what do we have on the scale? From one side, socially accepted and remain normal, average. Doesn't it already create tension, resistance inside you? From the other side, to take a shot to become exceptional. That's what I would call social abnormality. Ask what does it take to get outstanding results? Except discipline and a lot of sacrifices. I'm telling you, be ready for social non-acceptance, isolation. Because from perspective normal human being, it means being weird until you make it. But what about self-actualization? Molding yourself, grinding. For me, it's synonymous with constant self-questioning. It's like a bane. It can be noxious. It creates self-doubt, constant comparison yourself with someone else, not even necessarily better than you. And you still even didn't ask yourself for what purpose, what motivates you to extend, exceed, or be alike. Why do you chase for conformity or authority? Or whatever reason you're so hard trying to find a place in society. I don't want to instill additional tension. My intention is to help you, to realize yourself, a given impulse to break free, to finally obtain your unique style, to become authentic. That's the way to outstand, way for self-actualization. There is a great book by Vadim Zeland called Reality Transurfing. He described precisely how we got magnetized towards someone else's dream and striving to emulate our idols. Is it because their life seems to be more bright, more flashy, more interesting, like the sun shines above their head more brightly? That's how we're losing our identity, uniqueness, our style, wasting time instead of finding ourselves. We constantly compare, evaluate, or judge. It's weird nature of human tendency. Is it how we're trying to escape from our own identity? Or absolute delusion? To answer these questions, I believe requires exceptional critical thinking, being ruthless to yourself, confront reality, get rid of all the justification and excuses, and have willingness to pass through this maze. Keep in mind, there's opposite side of constant analyzing and being harsher on yourself. You can break under own pressure. To be perfectionist, way too excruciating, because you know all your own weaknesses. Meanwhile, the goal is sublime version of yourself. Where is that thin line where you go too far? This type of mindset can be torture. I wish I can tell where leads this road. You disassemble and reconstruct yourself. Behind that door comes too much fear, stress, anxiety. You nurture your own demons, permanent companions, self-instill artificially, by chasing reality without exaggeration and embellishment, to be able to see things crystal clear. But let's assume you finally did it. You have achieved a perfect polished lens and able to see things as it is. What comes after? Does it help anyhow? Will you achieve exception after that? Financial independence, or ability to bend reality to our preferable direction? These are the questions remain open, only time can tell. What I'm definitely ready to assert, you're stepping over to the next level of realization, which is not really any easier. It seems like complication increases. Gravity becomes magnetizing stronger. Air becomes denser. Thoughts become more profound, more heavier. Life becomes more grueling. I can tell for sure, in case you're on the same stage, I don't know how to deal with all of this. Just accept, admit reality, and things as it is. Don't overanalyze. There is no point of that at all, because it's just a tool, lens that you should utilize. Move forward. I'm telling you what waits for you behind the doorstep. Einstein, Michael Jackson, Leonardo da Vinci, Newton, Nikola Tesla. I can keep going on and on. Being exceptional, genius, equal maverick, strange, weird, and certainly not average. Nah, definitely not, but for sure authentic. How do you think? Were they worried what people thought about them? Certainly not. And that's one of the main reasons how they made those names. You have to assert yourself, declare your statement if you have one. But if you don't, you're not ready. Admit it and cultivate what requires. How can you be a genius if you didn't find your purview? How can you grind if you still didn't determine your prowess? How can you become exceptional if it requires whole life to actualize yourself, but you already passed half of the way? Every famous name you know started long ago, so how do you consider to compete with them? Time to start, never late. What I'm trying to say is you should do groundwork, obtain necessary tools to be able to leap. The only way to deal with it, to admit and face yourself, face your shadow, it will help you to move forward with the extra weight. The only one who you have to fight against is yourself. I don't know your circumstances, what's your goals. That's why I can't tell where to go. You're the only one who can determine direction, but I can tell from personal perspective. Listen to yourself and you will figure out.